The small space station orbiting Proxima Centauri was quiet except for the soft hum of life support systems. Lieutenant Tae-ho Kim sat alone at the control panel, his tired eyes fixed on the communication screen. 3 years had passed since Earth was destroyed. 3 years of silence. Tae-ho rubbed his face and checked the oxygen levels out of habit. The station was designed for a crew of 6, but he had been its only human occupant for the last 2 years. His crewmates had taken the only escape pod when supplies started running low, heading for a rumored human outpost in the Alpha Centauri system. Tae-ho had volunteered to stay behind. Someone needed to keep the communication lines open, just in case. Jisoo, run another scan of frequencies, Tae-ho said to the station's eye. Running scan, Lieutenant, replied the AI in a soft voice. Tae-ho had named it after his daughter. The real Jisoo had been on Earth when the Voidborn attacked. She was 7 years old. Tae-ho stood up and walked to the observation window. The red dwarf star glowed in the distance, bathing the station in a crimson light. Once, he had been a decorated pilot in the Earth Defense Force, flying advanced fighters against the first Voidborn scouts. But no one had expected the main attack. No one had believed the aliens would destroy an entire planet. Scan complete, Jisoo announced. No new signals detected. Tae-ho nodded. It was the same result as yesterday, and the day before, and every day for the past 3 years. Yet he kept scanning. It was his duty. It gave him purpose. He moved to the small food preparation area and heated up a meal pack. The station had enough supplies to last one person another year. After that, he hadn't thought that far ahead. As he ate the bland food, Tae-ho looked at the pictures taped to the wall. His wife, Minji. His daughter, Jisoo. His parents. All gone now, along with 7 billion others. Sometimes he wondered if he was the last human alive. The thought made his chest tighten. After eating, Tae-ho went through his daily routine. Checking systems, recording his log, exercising in the small gym area to keep his muscles from wasting in the low gravity. It was during his exercise that Jisoo interrupted him. Lieutenant, I'm detecting a signal. Tae-ho froze mid-push-up. What kind of signal? It appears to be a human transmission. Very weak. Using old Earth Defense Force encryption. Tae-ho rushed to the control panel, heart pounding. The signal was barely there, a whisper among the cosmic noise. Boost the receiver. Clean up that signal, he ordered, fingers flying across the controls. Working, Jisoo replied. For several minutes, Tae-ho held his breath as the AI processed the weak transmission. Finally, through static and interference, words became clear. Survivors at coordinates. Running low on. Voidborn scouts in sector. Anyone receiving. The message repeated twice before fading back into static. But it was enough. The voice was human. The encryption was EDF standard. Someone else had survived. Tae-ho's hands trembled as he traced the signal's origin. It came from a small asteroid cluster about 2 weeks' travel away at the station's maximum speed. A place easily overlooked, hidden in a radiation belt that would mask life signs from casual scans. Jisoo, prepare the station for minimum operation. Reroute power to long-range communications. This will reduce life support to emergency levels, the AI warned. Do it anyway. We need to respond. For the first time in 3 years, Tae-ho felt something other than grief and duty. He felt hope. He crafted a simple response message, sending it on the same frequency. This is Lieutenant Tae-ho Kim of Earth Defense Force, Proxima Outpost. Message received. I am coming to your position. Hold on. He sent the message 3 times, then began preparations to leave. The station wasn't designed to travel, but its emergency thrusters could be modified. It would be dangerous. It might fail. But none of that mattered now. Tae-ho was no longer alone. And that changed everything. It took Tae-ho 13 days to reach the asteroid cluster. He had pushed the station's emergency thrusters beyond safe limits, sleeping only when absolutely necessary. The journey had been dangerous. Twice he had to hide from what appeared to be void-born scout ships, cutting all power and drifting silently as the alien vessels passed nearby. When he finally reached the coordinates, Tai-ho saw nothing but floating rocks and dust. Had the signal been a mistake? A trap? Then, as his station drifted closer to a particularly large asteroid, he noticed something unusual. The rock's surface had small, regular holes, too perfect to be natural. "Jisoo, scan that asteroid," Tai-ho ordered. "Scanning," the eye replied. "I detect a hollow interior and faint energy signatures. There appears to be an artificial structure inside the asteroid." Before Tai-ho could respond, a new message came through the comm system. "Unidentified vessel, state your identity and purpose." The voice was female, stern and cautious. Tai-ho leaned forward eagerly. "This is Lieutenant Taho Kim, Earth Defense Force. I received your distress signal." There was a long pause before the voice returned. "Lieutenant Kim, approach the south pole of the asteroid. Look for the blue light." Tai-ho carefully maneuvered his station toward the location. As he got closer, a small blue light began blinking on the rock's surface. Suddenly, a section of the asteroid slid open, revealing a docking bay, just large enough for his station to enter. With careful movements, Tai-ho guided his home of the past 3 years into the hidden bay. As the outer doors closed behind him, he felt a bump as docking clamps secured his station. The air pressure indicators showed the bay was being filled with breathable atmosphere. Tai-ho put on his sidearm, a habit from his military days, and moved to the airlock. His heart pounded as he opened the door and stepped out into the bay for the first time in years. 3 people waited for him, all wearing patched-together uniforms with Earth Defense Force insignia. 2 held weapons pointed at him. The third, a woman with short black hair and sharp eyes, stepped forward. "I'm Commander Sunmi Park," she said. "Sorry for the caution, but we can't be too careful these days." Tai-ho nodded, understanding completely. "How many survivors are here?" 87, Sunmi answered. "We were on the EDF transport ship Horizon when Earth fell. We managed to hide in this asteroid belt instead of heading to the designated evacuation point." "Good thing too," said one of the armed men. "The evacuation point was hit just days after Earth." Sunmi gestured for Tai-ho to follow her. "Come. There's much to show you." They walked through narrow tunnels carved into the rock, passing people who stopped to stare at the newcomer. Some looked hopeful, others suspicious. All looked tired. The tunnels opened into a larger cavern where makeshift homes had been built. People worked at various stations, some tending to hydroponic gardens, others repairing equipment. Children played in a corner under the watchful eye of an older woman. "You have children," Tai-ho said, his voice catching. Sunmi nodded. 7 were born here, a small miracle, given our circumstances. She led him to another room filled with computer equipment. Maps of nearby star systems covered the walls, with notes and markings. "We've been monitoring voidborn movements," Sunmi explained. "They're still hunting for human survivors. But that's not the worst part." She turned to face Tai-ho directly. "We've discovered why they attacked Earth." Tai-ho frowned. "I thought they wanted our resources." "No," Sunmi said, her expression grave. "They fear us. Or rather, they fear something about us." She pointed to a screen showing what appeared to be intercepted voidborn communications. "According to what we've decoded, the voidborn didn't attack for conquest. They attacked because humans possess something that terrifies them." "What could possibly scare a species capable of destroying an entire planet?" Tai-ho asked. Sunmi's eyes met his. "That's what we're trying to find out. And we're running out of time to do so." "I want you to meet someone," Sunmi said, leading Tai-ho deeper into the asteroid colony. They walked through a narrow passage and entered a room filled with strange equipment. The walls were covered with diagrams of what looked like human brains and nervous systems. In the center stood a thin older man with glasses, working on a complex device. Professor Han Gil-Lee, Sun Mai called. Our guest has arrived. The man looked up and blinked several times, as if coming out of a deep thought. He set down his tools and approached them with quick steps. Lieutenant Kim. At last, someone from the outer stations. Han Gil's voice was excited but tired. Did you bring the communication parts we requested in our signal? Tai Ho looked confused. I'm sorry, but your message was broken. I only heard that there were survivors. Han Gil's face fell. I see. That is unfortunate. Sun Mai placed a hand on the professor's shoulder. Tell him what you've discovered, Han Gil. The professor nodded and moved to a computer screen. Lieutenant, what do you know about the Voidborn? Not much, Tai Ho admitted. They appeared 5 years ago. They attacked without warning. They destroyed Earth. Yes, but have you ever wondered why? Han Gil tapped the screen, bringing up images of a captured Voidborn ship piece. The Voidborn are a hive mind species. They share thoughts across their entire population. There is no individual in their society. Tai Ho looked at the strange alien technology. And humans are the opposite, Han Gil continued. We are strongly individual. Our minds are separate. He pointed to brain scans on the wall. But I've discovered something amazing. Humans have a unique quantum neural pattern that can, under certain conditions, persist after death. Tai Ho frowned. Like ghosts. Han Gil smiled. Exactly like ghosts. Ancient human myths about spirits and souls might have a scientific basis. I call it the ghost imprint. It exists in all humans, but normally fades when we die. Sun Ma stepped forward. The Voidborn communications we've intercepted suggest they detected this ability in humans and saw it as a threat to their hive mind. They fear us because we can maintain individual consciousness in ways they cannot understand. Han Gil moved to the device he had been working on. It looked like a helmet connected to a large power source. This is my prototype ghost imprint amplifier, he explained. It could potentially strengthen and preserve a human's neural pattern. But I lack proper materials to test it safely. Tai Ho looked skeptical. You're saying the Voidborn destroyed Earth because they're afraid of human ghosts. Not exactly ghosts as in supernatural beings, Han Gil clarified. More like a quantum echo of consciousness. The Voidborn operate as a single mind spread across many bodies. The idea that human minds could exist independently from their bodies is terrifying to them. It threatens their entire understanding of existence. Sun Ma's face grew serious. We're nearly out of food and critical supplies. We've been stretching rations for months. But if Han Gil's theory is correct, we might have a weapon against the Voidborn. Han Gil nodded eagerly. Imagine a human consciousness that could exist without a body. It could potentially move through Voidborn systems without detection. It could disrupt their hive mind communication. Suddenly, an alarm blared throughout the colony. A young woman rushed into the room. Commander, sensors have detected a Voidborn scout ship entering the asteroid field. Her voice was urgent. They're scanning the area systematically. Sun Ma's expression hardened. Have they detected us yet? Not yet, but at their current speed and search pattern, they'll find us within 6 hours. Tai Ho looked at the fear on everyone's faces. These people had survived for 3 years by staying hidden. Discovery meant death. I know Proxima Centauri's radiation patterns, Tai Ho said suddenly. I might be able to help you hide better. Or, he paused, an idea forming. Or we could use the radiation to our advantage and take the fight to them instead. Sun Ma studied him for a moment, then nodded. Tell me your plan, Lieutenant. We can use the radiation belt to mask our approach, Tai Ho explained, pointing to a map of the asteroid field. My station's thrusters can be modified to work on a smaller ship. Sun Ma and her team gathered around the planning table. She had called her best fighters for this mission. This is Sergeant Du Yun Kang, Sun Ma said, introducing a tall man with a scar across his cheek. He was our security chief on the horizon. If we're going to fight, he's coming with us. Du Yun nodded at Taiho. You really think we can take down a void-born scout ship? They have technology far beyond ours. Not beyond. Different. Taiho corrected. And they have a weakness. Their sensors can't handle the radiation spikes in this region. I've been hiding from them for years using this trick. Sun Li made a quick decision. We'll take our fastest shuttle. Small team. Me, Taiho, Du Yun, and 2 others. We intercept the scout before it finds the colony. Within an hour, they had prepared the shuttle. It was small, originally designed for moving between ships, not for battle. They had added makeshift weapons. Mining charges turned into bombs, and a salvaged pulse cannon from Taiho's station. Remember, Sun Mai told the team as they prepared to leave. Our goal is to destroy the scout before it can send a signal back to the main fleet. If they learn our location, we're all dead. The shuttle departed quietly, using minimal power to avoid detection. Taiho guided them through a dense part of the asteroid field, using the larger rocks as cover. The scout ship is 3 kilometers ahead, whispered one of the crew monitoring a sensor screen. It's running deep scans of Sector 7. That's too close to the colony, Sun Mai said, her face grim. We need to draw it away. Taiho had an idea. We can release a small power cell set to overload. The energy spike will attract their attention, but by the time they reach it, we'll be in position to attack. They executed the plan, dropping the power cell and moving to hide behind a large asteroid. The void-born ship took the bait, changing course to investigate the energy reading. Get ready, Du Yun told the team as he prepared the pulse cannon. We'll only get one shot at this. As the alien ship passed their position, Sun Mi gave the order. Now. Their shuttle burst from hiding. Du Yun fired the pulse cannon, hitting the scout ship's propulsion system. The mining charges followed, attaching to the hull of the damaged vessel. But the void-born ship wasn't defenseless. It fired back, hitting their shuttle with a beam of energy that tore through the hull. Warning alarms blared as air began to leak. The charges will detonate in 20 seconds, shouted one of the crew. We need to get clear, Sun Mai ordered. Taiho fought with the controls, trying to put distance between them and the void-born ship. The shuttle's damaged engines struggled to respond. Then the charges exploded. The blast wave hit their shuttle, throwing everyone against the walls. When Taiho regained his senses, he saw that the void-born ship was severely damaged, but still partly intact. It's sending a signal, called the sensor operator. Weak transmission, but it's calling for help. Du Yun grabbed a spacesuit. I'll finish it. Cover me. Before anyone could stop him, he went through the airlock and pushed off toward the crippled alien vessel, carrying their last explosive charge. Sun Mai and Taiho watched through the viewport as Du Yun reached the enemy ship and placed the charge. But as he turned to push back to the shuttle, a panel on the alien ship opened. A void-born creature emerged, a dark, multi-limbed form that moved with frightening speed. Du Yun, behind you, Sun Mai shouted over the comm. Du Yun turned too late. The void-born struck him, puncturing his suit with a sharp limb. Even as he was hit, Du Yun activated the charge and pushed away from the ship. The final explosion destroyed the void-born vessel completely. Sun Li maneuvered their damaged shuttle to retrieve Du Yun's drifting form. When they brought him inside, they could see the wound was bad. Black liquid from the void-born had mixed with his blood. Void-born biotoxin, Sun Mai said, her voice tight with worry. We need to get him back to the colony immediately. As they raced back, Du Yun's breathing grew labored. His skin turned pale around the wound, dark veins spreading outward. Hold on, Taiho told him. Professor Hangil will know what to do. But Du Yun's eyes were glazing over. Did we stop the signal? Yes, Sun Mai assured him. We stopped it. The colony is safe. You saved everyone. Du Yun nodded weakly. then closed his eyes. They rushed Du Yun to the medical area. As soon as they returned to the colony, his skin had turned a sickly gray color, with black veins spreading from the wound. His breathing was shallow and quick. "The biotoxin is attacking his nervous system," said the colony's doctor after examining him. "I don't have anything that can stop it. I'm sorry." Sunma looked devastated. Du Yun had been her friend since before Earth fell. Taiho stood silently nearby, feeling helpless. Professor Hangil entered the room and took in the situation with a single glance. "How long does he have?" he asked the doctor. "An hour, maybe less." Hangil turned to Sunma. "We could try my prototype, the ghost imprint amplifier. Your untested device." Sunma frowned. "It could kill him." "He's already dying," Hangil said gently. "But the amplifier might preserve his consciousness as the body fails. It's a chance, the only one he has." Taiho stepped forward. "What exactly would happen if it works?" "In theory, his neural pattern, his mind, would remain active in the quantum field even after physical death. A ghost of sorts." Sunma looked at Du Yun's paling face. "Ask him. It must be his choice." Hangil leaned over the dying man. "Du Yun, can you hear me?" Du Yun's eyes fluttered open. "Yes," he whispered. "We can try something experimental that might save your consciousness, if not your body. Do you want us to try?" Du Yun's gaze shifted to Sunma. "Will it help? Protect the colony?" "I don't know," she answered honestly. "But if it works, you would still be with us, in some form." After a moment of silence, Du Yun nodded. "Do it." Hangil moved quickly. He brought his device to the medical room and placed it carefully around Du Yun's head. It looked like a metal crown with wires connecting to a portable power unit. "I need to calibrate it to his specific neural pattern," Hangil explained as he worked. "Each human brain is unique." The room was tense as Hangil made final adjustments. Du Yun's breathing became more labored. The doctor checked his vital signs and shook her head. They were running out of time. "Ready," Hangil finally said. "Activating now." The device hummed softly. Lights blinked along its surface. Du Yun's body jerked once, then went still, the monitor showing his heartbeat flatlined. "It didn't work," Sunma said, her voice breaking. But Hangil was staring at another monitor that showed energy readings. "Wait, look at this." The screen displayed a pattern of light that pulsed in a regular rhythm. As they watched, the pattern began to form shapes, then letters. "I am here." The words appeared on the screen, then faded, then appeared again. "Du Yun," Sunma whispered. "Knakaru, feel strange." Hangil's face lit up with excitement. It worked. His consciousness has transferred to the electromagnetic field. He can interact with our systems. "More than that, I see them." "See who?" Taiho asked. "Void They're nete to work. I see an feel their side canals." Hangil turned to Sunma, his eyes wide. "He's somehow accessing the void-born communication network. He exists in a state they can't detect, but he can sense them." As they tried to understand what was happening, an alarm sounded in another part of the colony. Someone rushed into the medical room. "Commander, the void-born soldier from the scout ship. We captured it before the explosion. It's awake in the containment cell." They had nearly forgotten about the alien they had brought back. It was injured but alive. The first live void-born ever captured by humans. "Take me there. I went to see it." Hangil disconnected the device from Du Yun's body, but kept the power unit running. "The pattern is stable. We can move it." They walked quickly to the containment area. Inside a reinforced cell sat a dark, multi-limbed creature. Its skin was like black oil that never quite settled. It had no visible eyes, but they could feel it watching them. Hangil held up the device containing Du Yun's consciousness. Immediately, The void-born creature pressed itself against the far wall of its cell. It made a high-pitched sound none of them had heard before. It's afraid. Not of you. Of me. It's afraid of the ghost imprint, Taiho realized. Just like Han Gil said, they fear what they don't understand. Sun Le looked at the device in Han Gil's hands, then at the terrified alien. For the first time since Earth fell, she smiled. I think we just found our weapon. The scout ship we destroyed will be missed, Sun Mai said during the emergency meeting. The Voidborn will send more ships to investigate. They had gathered in the colony's main room. Han Gil had connected Du Yun's ghost imprint to the colony's main computer system. His thoughts appeared as text on a large screen. They are already coming. 5 ships, larger than DE Scout. You can see their fleet movements. Taiho asked, amazed. Yes. Strange. I exist in beauty places. Here with you. Also in their need to Orc. Like listening to distant voices. Han Gil adjusted some settings on his equipment. The ghost imprint exists as a quantum pattern. It's not bound by normal space. Du Yun can perceive their communications because they use quantum signaling too. Sun Le leaned forward. Can you understand what they're saying? Their plans. Some. Their thoughts are difffe. He ent. Igi. No individuals. Hard to but they so me thing hate PENED to their scout. They are searching. We need more information, Sun Mai said firmly. We need to know their exact plans, their weaknesses. Taiho had been thinking quietly. Now he spoke up. What if we get closer? Would Du Yun be able to access more of their network if we brought his ghost imprint near their fleet? Han Gil considered this. Theoretically, yes. Proximity might strengthen the connection. I can try. Want to help? Sun Mei shook her head. It's too dangerous. We barely escaped the scout ship. A whole fleet would destroy us instantly. Not if they don't see us, Taiho countered. My station has stealth capabilities I developed while hiding from the Voidborn for years. I can modify the shuttle to use the same technology. The room fell silent as everyone considered the risk. We must try. Only chance. Finally, Sun Li nodded. Prepare the shuttle. Minimal crew, just Taiho as pilot. Han Gil, can you make the ghost imprint device portable enough? I can create a smaller version, the professor said. It won't have the same power, but it should work for this purpose. They spent the next day preparing. Han Gil built a handheld device to carry Du Yun's consciousness. Taiho worked on the shuttle, adding stealth features and extra radiation shielding. As Taiho made the final preparations for launch, Sun Mai approached him. This mission is voluntary. You know that, right? I know, Taiho said simply. But I've been alone at that station for years, thinking I was the last human alive. Now I found others. I'll do whatever it takes to protect that. The launch was quiet. Taiho piloted the modified shuttle out of the asteroid field, carrying the small device that contained Du Yun's ghost imprint. They moved slowly, using minimal power to avoid detection. We're approaching the edge of the radiation belt, Taiho said aloud, knowing Du Yun could hear him through the shuttle systems. Sensors show voidborn ships ahead. I feel them. Stronger, no. Many minds connected. Taiho carefully navigated around debris, keeping his distance from the alien ships. It was nerve-wracking work. Twice, a voidborn vessel changed course unexpectedly, coming dangerously close to their position. Can you access more of their network now? Taiho asked quietly, as if the voidborn might hear him. Yes, seeing deeper. Their plans. Wait, I see it now. Understand why. The text that appeared on Taiho's screen came faster now, almost frantic. They Cafe Air US. Human consciousness can infect their hive mind, introduce individuality, would destroy their curiosity. They destroyed Earth notive for conquest, for survival. They believe humans are a disease. They killed 7 billion people because they're afraid of individuality. Taiho felt anger rise in him. There's an or. They cannot do survivors exist, planning final purge of AL human colonies. Soon, suddenly, alarms blared in the shuttle. A void-borne ship had changed course directly toward them. They've detected us. Taiho began evasive maneuvers, pushing the shuttle's engines hard. No, wait. ICN. Let me try so me thing. The device containing Du Yun's ghost pulsed with energy. On the screen, Taiho saw sending data to their sensors, making them see an asteroid, not a ship. Miraculously, the void-borne vessel changed course again, moving away from them. Worked, but can't do it again. Need to leave now. Have what we need. Taiho didn't need to be told twice. He turned the shuttle around and headed back toward the colony at top speed. Du Yun, you're incredible, he said as they escaped the void-borne fleet. You just gave humanity a fighting chance. Just a ghost, but still human. When Taiho returned to the colony with the information from the void-borne fleet, everyone gathered to hear the news. Sun Mai called an emergency meeting in the main hall. The Voidborn are planning to destroy all remaining human colonies, Taiho explained to the crowd. But thanks to Du Yun, we now know why they fear us, and we know we're not alone. The ghost imprint device sat on a table, connected to the colony's main computer. Du Yun's thoughts appeared on the large screen. DETCCEDO there, human and psychic hidden in VVOIDBOR network. At least 6 other colonies exist. They don't abo each other. This news caused excited whispers among the colonists. For 3 years, they had believed they might be the last humans alive. Can you contact these other colonies? Sunmai asked. VOIDBORN logic normal communications, but I can send the messages through their own network. They do and DETCT it. Professor Hangill stepped forward. I've been studying the data from our captured Voidborn. Their fear response to the ghost imprint is even stronger than we thought. When exposed to the ghost pattern, their hive mind connection becomes unstable. We need to reach the other colonies, Sunmai decided. Together, we might have a chance against the Voidborn. Over the next few days, Du Yun worked to contact the other human settlements. His ghost imprint traveled through the Voidborn communication network, slipping past their defenses like an invisible spy. FOUN to First Colony. Alpha Centauri Mining Outpost. 213 survivors. Can you establish communication? Hankill asked, adjusting the equipment. Done. They are receiving. How is it? Now, the screen flickered, and then a face appeared, a woman with tired eyes and a shocked expression. This is Commander J1 Park of Alpha Centauri Mining Outpost, she said. Who are you? How did you bypass the Voidborn blockers? Sunmai stepped forward. I'm Commander Sunmai Park of the Proxima Centauri colony. We've discovered a way to communicate through the Voidborn network. They can't detect us. J1's eyes widened. There are other survivors. We thought we were the last. So did we, Sunmai replied. But there are more colonies out there. We're finding them one by one. Within hours, Du Yun had connected them to 3 more colonies, a research station orbiting Barnard Star, a military outpost near 61 Cygni, and a civilian shelter hidden in the Ta City system. Each colony had different resources, different strengths. The military outpost had weapons and trained soldiers. The research station had scientists who had been studying void-borne technology. The mining outpost had raw materials and ships. Taiho watched as Sun Mai spoke with the leaders of each colony, forming an alliance. They called it Earth Coast, in honor of Du Yun and their fallen homeworld. Meanwhile, Han Gil continued to improve the ghost imprint technology. He worked day and night, barely stopping to eat or sleep. "I've made a breakthrough," he announced on the fourth day. "I can make the ghost imprint more stable and increase its range." He demonstrated his new device. It was smaller than the original but more powerful. With this, Du Yun can access void-borne systems from much greater distances. And he hesitated, then continued, "I believe we could preserve more consciousness patterns if needed." Sun Mi understood what he meant. More soldiers like Du Yun. More ghosts to fight the void-borne. Found two more colonies, both in danger. Void buoran ships, APP roaching their locations. Sun Mi's face hardened with resolve. "How long do they have?" 3 days at most. "Then it's time," she said, looking around at the gathered colonists. "We've been hiding and surviving for 3 years. Now we fight back." She turned to Taiho. "You're our best pilot. We need you to lead the first mission." Taiho nodded. He thought of Earth, of his family who had died there, of all humanity had lost. "What's the plan?" he asked. Sun Mi displayed a map of nearby star systems. "We'll start by evacuating the threatened colonies. Then, using Du Yun's intelligence on void-borne movements, we'll coordinate attacks on their supply ships." Du Yun's "not alone anymore" appeared on the screen. Han Gil smiled. "No, you're not. You're the first of many. The void-borne destroyed our world, but they didn't destroy our spirit." The resistance had begun. Humanity was no longer just hiding. They were fighting back. 2 weeks after contacting the other colonies, the humans were ready to launch their first attack against the void-borne. They called it Operation Haunting. Taiho stood on the bridge of the command ship, looking at the small fleet they had gathered. 3 combat vessels from the military outpost near 61 Cygni, 5 mining ships retrofitted with weapons from Alpha Centauri, and 7 smaller fighters built from parts salvaged from various human outposts. It wasn't much compared to the void-borne fleet, but they had something the aliens didn't expect: ghost imprint technology. "All ships report ready," said Sun Mi, who stood beside him. She had insisted on joining the mission despite her role as colony commander. Each ship carried a ghost imprint projector built by Professor Han Gil. Du Yun's consciousness had been copied into each device, allowing him to exist across multiple locations at once. "I am ready," appeared on the screen before them. Void buoran supply fleet APP roaching tar GT zone. Their plan was to attack a void-borne supply convoy that Du Yun had identified. The aliens would not expect resistance, and the supply ships were less heavily armed than their military vessels. "Remember," Taiho told the fleet over the comm system, "our main weapon is not our guns but our ghost imprints. Get close enough to use the projectors, and the void-borne ships will experience system failures as their hive-mind connection breaks down." The human fleet moved into position, hiding behind a small moon. They waited silently as the void-borne convoy approached. "Now," Sun Mi ordered when the enemy ships were in range. The human vessels burst from hiding, moving quickly toward the surprised void-borne ships. The aliens responded slowly, confused by the sudden appearance of human craft where none should exist. Taiho piloted the lead ship directly toward the largest void-borne vessel. "Activating Ghost Projector," he said as they came within range. The device powered up, broadcasting Du Yun's consciousness pattern toward the alien ship. The effect was immediate. The void-borne vessel's movements became erratic. Its weapons fired randomly into space. Their minds are breaking down, Du Yun reported. They tnot main. Tain koalicitv thojichi. Wayan xpozd2 human consciousness patterns. All around them, the other human ships were doing the same, targeting different enemy vessels with their ghost projectors. The Voidborn ships began to collide with each other as their coordination failed. It's working, Sunmai exclaimed. They can't fight back effectively. Taiho pushed their advantage, moving closer to fire conventional weapons at the now vulnerable supply ships. Two Voidborn vessels exploded under the combined attack of ghost disruption and physical weapons. But the aliens weren't defenseless. One of the Voidborn ships managed to fire a powerful energy beam, cutting through a human mining vessel. Taiho watched in horror as the ship broke apart. Taizong colony ship is hit, came a panicked voice over the comm. We're losing air. Move to assist. Taiho ordered two nearby fighters. Get their crew out. Despite this loss, the human fleet was winning. The ghost imprint technology proved even more effective than they had hoped. The Voidborn ships couldn't maintain their hive mind connection under the assault of human consciousness patterns. Within an hour, the battle was over. 7 Voidborn ships destroyed, 2 damaged and retreating. The humans had lost only 1 vessel, with most of its crew rescued. As they regrouped, Sunmai received a message from another part of the resistance. Commander Park, Alpha Centauri forces report success. They've captured the Voidborn forward base in their sector. Cheers erupted across the command ship. For the first time since Earth fell, humanity had won a significant victory against their destroyers. They FER US now. Du Yun's message appeared. More than before. Their network is filled with TONFUVISION. They dionit UUNDRSTND. How we are doing this? Taiho looked out at the debris of Voidborn ships floating in space. They thought they destroyed us when they took Earth. They were wrong. Sun Li nodded, her face showing both sadness for those lost and pride in what they had accomplished. Earth may be gone, but its people live on. And now we have a weapon they never expected. What's our next target? Taiho asked. Sun Ni's eyes shone with determination. We keep hitting their supply lines. We free any human colonies they're threatening, and we start pushing them back, system by system. On the screen, Du Yun's final message of the day appeared. We are ghosts of Earth, and we will event them until the end. 6 months had passed since Operation Haunting. 6 months of battles, victories, and losses. The human resistance had grown stronger with each passing day. They had reclaimed 3 star systems from the Voidborn and freed thousands of human survivors who had been hiding in fear. Taiho stood on the Bridge of the Remembrance, the largest human warship ever built. It had been constructed in the shipyards of Alpha Centauri using technology from all the colonies. As admiral of what they now called the Ghost Fleet, Taiho commanded more than 50 vessels. Status report, he said to his crew. All ships report ready, Admiral, replied his second-in-command. Ghost imprint systems at full power. Sunmai entered the bridge. In the past months, she had become the leader of the United Human Colonies. Her face showed the strain of leadership, but her eyes remained determined. Is it time? Taiho asked her. She nodded. All colonies have voted. We're going home. Home. The word still brought pain. Earth was gone, destroyed by the Voidborn. But intelligence gathered by Du Yun and other ghost imprints had revealed something unexpected. The Voidborn still maintained a presence in Earth's solar system. They were studying the ruins of humanity's homeworld, searching for something. Show me the latest intel, Taiho requested. A holographic display appeared before them. Du Yun's ghost pattern manifested as a glowing figure beside it. VOIDBORN AVFIV major bases in Earth's system, Du Yun reported. His communication had improved over the months, becoming more natural. Largest concentration is in Earth's orbit. They are examining a debris field. Looking for what? Sun Mai asked. They fear what they don't understand, Du Yun answered. They want to be sure Earth is truly dead. Taiho studied the display. How many ghost imprints are ready for deployment? 3,000, came the reply. All volume TERs. These were not just copies of Du Yun anymore. In the months since discovering the ghost imprint technology, many dying humans had chosen to preserve their consciousness to continue fighting. Soldiers wounded in battle, colonists with terminal illnesses, each had become a ghost, ready to haunt the Voidborn. Launch the fleet, Sun Mai ordered. Take back our solar system. The ghost fleet moved out, jumping through space toward Earth's system. It was humanity's largest operation since the resistance began. Every available ship, every trained pilot, every ghost imprint was part of this mission. As they approached the outer edge of the solar system, Taiho felt a strange mix of emotions. This had been home once. Now it was enemy territory. Neptune in range, reported a crew member. Voidborn outpost detected. Deploy Ghost Squadron 1. Taiho ordered. Small unmanned drones launched from the fleet's carriers. Each contained dozens of ghost imprints. They swarmed toward the Voidborn outpost, broadcasting human consciousness patterns at maximum strength. The effect was devastating. The Voidborn station's defenses failed as the aliens inside lost their hive mind connection. Human fighters followed, easily destroying the confused enemy. The fleet moved inward, past Jupiter and Mars, winning battle after battle. The Voidborn, despite their superior numbers, could not defend against the ghosts that invaded their systems and broke their collective mind. Finally, they reached Earth, or what remained of it. Large chunks of the planet still orbited the sun, surrounded by a field of debris. The sight brought tears to many eyes on the bridge. Around this graveyard of their homeworld, the largest Voidborn fleet they had ever seen waited. Hundreds of ships formed a defensive ring around Earth's remains. They really are afraid of us, Sun Mai said quietly. Taiho nodded. And they should be. He turned to his communications officer. Broadcast on all frequencies. Deploy all ghost imprints. Thousands of human consciousness patterns launched from the ghost fleet, racing toward the Voidborn armada like a storm of spirits. The alien ships began to move erratically as their crews lost cohesion. For Earth, Taiho said as he ordered the fleet forward. The final battle began. Human ships moved through the debris of their homeworld, firing on the confused Voidborn vessels. Ghost imprints infiltrated the alien flagship, turning its weapons against its own fleet. Standing on the bridge of the Remembrance, Taiho watched as humanity reclaimed the grave of their world. Earth might be gone, but its people lived on. Its ghosts had risen. We're home, Sun Mai whispered beside him. Du Yun's voice came through the ship's speakers, speaking for all the ghost imprints fighting alongside them. Earth is not a place, it is US. And we are still here.